Blah.
Hello and welcome to Stuff Every Queer Kid Should Know, a survival guide for late adolescence, but also whatever age you are. I'm Max Emerson, a writer and performer leveraging social media to create independent narratives. Similar to my other endeavors, this podcast is designed to provide vital resources, role models, and tools that enhance your well-being, foster connections, and support personal growth from late adolescence onwards. Today, I'm doing an Ask Me Anything episode where your Instagram questions are taking center stage. We're covering everything from my shoe size, which seems to be a crowd favorite, to the mystery of Sarge's backup food guy. So buckle up for a wild ride through your curiosities and confessions. Because to be completely honest, your questions about me are saying more about you than they ever will about me. We're going to kick this right off because I don't think Ask Me Anything should last longer than 15 minutes. If anyone can spend more than 15 minutes on camera talking about themselves, you probably shouldn't be listening to them. The first question is, what is your shoe size? 11. What is your favorite color? My favorite color is yellow, but like a muted burnt yellow and in very, very small doses. If you give me too much yellow, it's no longer my favorite color. What is Andrés' shoe size? That's not my information to share. I'm very, very sorry. Who does Sarge consider to be the backup food guy? If you know, you know. So when we got Sarge originally, Andrés was commuting Monday to Friday to San Francisco, working for a tech client. I was mom, so I will always be mom, which means that Andrés is the backup food guy. What is your favorite continent to visit? It's really impossible to have any favorite continent, so I did superlatives for each one. North America is home. It's the most accessible. It's got lovely people. It's just got everything. It's if you don't leave North America in your entire life, you can still see just about every geographic climate that you will ever want to see. South America is the most adventurous. It's navigable enough that we don't feel like we need a tour guide. Granted, we both speak Spanish, but it's dangerous enough that it feels like something is still at stake. Australia is the most laid back. I can get lost in Australia for months at a time. If my schedule allowed it, I probably would do that. I'm trying to find an excuse to make that happen currently. Asia is the most exotic. I mean, from country to country, it's just so different. It's really fun and safe to travel around there, so I've probably spent the most time traveling around Asia. Africa is the most mysterious to me. In a lot of countries in Africa, it's not legal to be a homosexual man, so it hasn't really been the highest on my travel list. Also, it's really expensive, I think, to do it safely, so I just haven't gotten there yet. So it's going to get the most mysterious superlative from me. Antarctica, of course, is the most penguins. Lastly is Europe. I forgot to include Europe initially on this list because, I don't know, it's just Europe. I feel like Europe is... It's not really a continent. It's just like an extension of Asia. But it's lovely. I mean, food. Next question. When will you visit Argentina? I have been looking for an excuse to visit Argentina for years. I'm working on a partnership with the Icon Pass people, so hopefully I can navigate a trip down to some of their ski resorts. I have been dying to ski in either Chile or Argentina, but I will take either one. How old was I when I came out of the closet? To myself, I think I was maybe 11 years old. I was watching one of those adult films. It was a straight one, but I realized I was looking at the dude. And after, I was cleaning up, I realized high school is probably going to suck. I waited to come out officially until college. I wanted to kind of have a fresh start. When it came to just like seizing a new identity. If you would like to learn more about my coming out process, you can read my very first novel, Hot Sissy, available where people buy novels. If you're like me, you want to fuel your body with the best possible ingredients, whether you're working out, staying active, or just looking to maintain a healthy lifestyle. That's why I'm excited to share with you Puori's whey protein. It's not just any protein powder. It's a game changer. Puori's whey protein is sourced from grass-fed cows, ensuring that you're getting a clean, pure, and high-quality protein. What sets this protein powder apart is its simplicity and commitment to quality. There are no artificial sweeteners, fillers, or unnecessary additives, just pure protein goodness with a delicious natural bourbon vanilla flavor. Plus, it's sweetened with organic coconut sugar, so it tastes amazing without all the junk. Whether you're mixing it into your morning smoothies or shaking it up post-workout, Puori Protein Powder delivers 21 grams of protein per serving, helping to support muscle recovery, energy levels, and overall wellness. And for those of us who care about where our food comes from, it's great to know that Puori's Way is certified by the Clean Label Project, ensuring it's free from harmful contaminants like heavy metals and pesticides. Ready to elevate your protein game? Head over to Puori.com and use my promo code MaxEmerson. That's Puori.com/MaxEmerson. Don't mess out. Head to Puori.com/MaxEmerson and use promo code MaxEmerson today. What prompted me to come out? I was champing at the bit to come out. I was ready. As soon as I got a car, I was on those websites that people used before Grindr, having terrible experiences with men that were lying about their age. So pretty much the first chance I got, I was a tech person, like a backstage worker when I was a freshman in theater school at UMiami for Midsummer Night's Dream. And at the cast party, what are the lovers' names in that show? One of the younger lovers was a big homo, and we were all drunk at the cast party, and I gave him like a shoulder rub, but then I did that thing where you like pull their hand around back to like get the scapula to pop out so you can like really get in under there. But then when I pulled his hand back, I put it on my boner, and he turned around, pulled me onto his lap. We started making out at a party full of theater kids. So I guess that would be when I officially came out. Later in the semester, they had a thing called Barriers, where these two seniors would like host like a fake show, and all of the different classes would come and do performances in front of the entire school. So there's like maybe 200, 300 people. It was the music school and the theater school together. The theater's hosting had played Oberon in Titania in Midsummer, and they did like a little sketch in between, the classes doing their performances that served as their finals. And I don't know if you're familiar with Midsummer, but they're always fighting over like a boy. There's like a custody battle at the heart of this Shakespearean comedy. So, they come out on stage, and Titania has me, the boy, in like a collar and leash. And Oberon walks out and says, "Titania, give me the boy." And Titania said, "He's mineth," because that's how they speak in Shakespeare. They say mineth. And Oberon, who's this like super jacked muscle guy not wearing a shirt, responded, "He's gayeth." And like the entire auditorium like got up and started screaming. And it wasn't really about me. It was more about like every freshman in theater school that comes out as soon as they get there. But I was happy to be a part of it. Next question. Have you ever been bullied, and how did you react to it? So I've talked about this before in some other conversations, but I have two brothers, one a year older and one a year younger. So the dynamic of bullying is a little funny with me. It's not kind of like how the Trevor Project would talk about it, where like everyone's ganging up on this one person. Like I did get bullied, but sometimes I deserved it. With two brothers, you're constantly trying to not be the one on the shit list. So you're sort of always trying to deflect and point the humiliation towards someone that's not you. So that definitely makes you part of the problem. And I think in like middle school especially was when it got like the fiercest. I didn't want to be that guy. So I would often deflect. So I would dish it out as much as I got it. But I definitely did receive my share of bullying. I've always kind of been known for having a smart mouth, which comes with a very punchable face. It's something I've had to work on as I've gotten older. When is the right time to come out of the closet? And how do you feel safe when coming out doesn't go as expected? I have no idea how to answer this for you because it's a different question. It's a different answer for every single person. The only thing it really boils down to is, do you feel safe? And do you feel ready? If you just have to do it, you have to do it. But it's honestly, you can say and do whatever you want, but you are going to have to deal with how people respond to it. So if you don't feel like you're in a place where people are going to accept you or you're going to lose your lifelines, I can't be the one to tell you that it's time to come out of the closet. There are a lot of resources out there that we'll include in the show notes that can maybe help you on this journey. Florida boy question. How do you run away from an alligator? That's actually really good question. A lot of people don't know this. I thought this was common knowledge. Even when I went to college, there were like alligators in the pond in the center of campus. It would make news when they like waddled up to the like the parking lots and stuff. I think someone died the year before I got to school because someone was being hazed by a frat and they swam across the pond, and one of them didn't make it. Like, they never found the body. He got eaten by alligators. So how do you run away from alligators? Obviously, don't swim in water with alligators. But if you're running from them, they can run 30 miles an hour. They're super fast. But they can only run in a straight line. So if you're running from an alligator, you run in a zigzag, you'll be fine. Better yet, climb a tree, because obviously it's an alligator. Next question. You've been making content and posting about your life for years. What are some of the drawbacks and hardest things about sharing your life on the internet? So I was encouraged to start a blog when I was 18 years old in college, which means I've officially been doing this for half of my life. Writing since middle school means that I've always had some interest in translating my life experience into creative narrative projects. It's always been tough. I always incorporate my life into the things that I write. It's been kind of a therapeutic process. Matt Dempsey told me that the opposite of depression is expression. So anytime something really bothers me and itches on me, I share it. I find a narrative to put it into. I share it on the internet in some kind of way. With social media, it's all about sharing who you are and or at least who you want to be in some capacity on the internet. And the only real requirement is that it has to be authentic. Sometimes it feels like a lie of omission to share parts of me that are really parts of me, but then still keeping things that are personal and private, or at least even deciding when to share those things. But it's been an ongoing conversation. For me, it's been such a slow build. Like, I've just kind of always done it, and then there was an audience that I never really had to make the decisions. It just sort of happened organically. But when I started dating Andrés, he went from 1,200 followers to nearly 400,000 in a couple years. So things just got really weird for him really quick, things that I just kind of goldfished my way through. He would come home being like, yo, I was at the gym today, and or I was at a party and someone came up and introduced themselves to me and asked my name, but then started bringing up all these topics that were very relevant to my life. Like, just lots of weird creep happening. So when we started dating and he was having those experiences, because it happened so quickly, we started having more of I guess you could call it a boundaries conversation. And at this point, 8 years in, it's more of an intuitive thing, knowing whether or not we need to have a conversation about what to share. I don't know. I've never made a spreadsheet. It's very much just what feels right, what you feel comfortable sharing. And, some things you do want to share, but it almost feels exploitive to yourself. So I guess that's usually something that if I'm not sure, I'll wait. And then usually one day when I'm walking the dog, I'll know, it'll pop up. The next question is about navigating dating apps. Do I have any advice for navigating dating apps? I actually made a whole little web series with my cousin Connor Donnelly one time about this. The first and foremost thing with dating apps is safety, because there's a huge community in those apps that you can access, but it's in a context that is not always the healthiest. And I feel like the algorithms in human nature are swirling and combining to create this dopamine reward system that is very, very addictive. So not even from the don't get murdered at a stranger's house thing, but is this safe for your mental health to be doing this? How much time are you spending on these apps? Is something worth considering. And it's something that I've had to think about when I was on dating apps. But there's also the basic safety aspects, like how to protect yourself from STIs and, just the basic self-care. There's always the chance that you're meeting up with a catfish who is a serial killer. A good rule of thumb is that if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. I like to do something called the catfish test. People use Andrés and my photos all the time for dating app scams. It's a huge It's a huge problem. It's a financial scam. They actually get used more on like middle-aged straight women than they do on gay guys, but to each their own. If you're to meet someone online and it seems like it's too good to be true, you can ask them to do the catfish test, which is where you request that they do a certain type of picture, like snap it as a selfie, expiring photo, whatever. Like, I don't know, hold up 2 fingers next to your right eye. And then in return, ideally, you would do the same for them. That's a fun one. Or I guess you could just exchange Instagrams and keep sniffing it out from there. I highly recommend people get on PrEP if they're going to be on dating apps, and get tested regularly for STIs and get their, kidneys monitored when you're on PrEP? You should consult a health professional on this, but if you don't have one available, we will include more in the show notes. A good rule of thumb when meeting up with a stranger on the internet, even if it's just for coffee, is to have close friends or family members having your location on your phone at all times. Just find my friends. The last thing is communication. A thing about dating apps that I think a lot of people get really sick of is that people treat each other as if they're disposable. I mean, you're literally lined up in a grid. You're shopping, but it's for human beings. And there's a lot of bad experiences on there as a result of that. So I think if you're trying to make a real connection on a dating app, the most useful piece of advice that I could give you that I think has worked for me, because I met my partner on one, is to try not to bring your baggage to the table. Once you feel yourself getting a shitty attitude or expecting the worst, maybe it's time to delete the app for a little bit, or like put a cap on it for 30 minutes a day or something like that. I think what might be helpful with things like this, because with social media and apps in general, is it's all very muddy. If you can clarify what your goals are with yourself and then learn how to communicate them, it might save you some time. Being specific with what you do, I think, will save people a lot of trouble and heartbreak. Also, when you're dating someone, please understand that you don't actually know who they are for at least a few months. Everybody is putting out an image of what they think you want. So it's always good to really get to know someone when they're comfortable before, I don't know, moving in. Hey there, listeners. If you're looking to boost your vitality and support your reproductive health, we've got something special for you. Let's talk about Shilajit, a powerful natural supplement that's been used for centuries in traditional Ayurvedic medicine. Recent studies showed that Shilajit not only increases testosterone levels, but also significantly improves sperm quality and quantity. We're talking better sperm count, enhanced motility, and healthier morphology, all key factors for the male parts. But not all Shilajit is created equal. That's why we recommend Black Lotus Shilajit. Sourced from the pristine Altai Mountains, Black Lotus Shilajit is pure, potent, and packed with fulvic acid and essential minerals. Unlike other brands, Black Lotus undergoes rigorous purification processes to ensure you're getting the highest quality product on the market. So if you're serious about optimizing your masculine parts, Black Lotus Shilajit is your go-to supplement. Boost your energy, enhance your fertility, and feel your best naturally. My favorite product of theirs is the tincture. I leave it under my tongue for 15 seconds and go. Try it today. Head over to blacklotusshilajit.com and use code MAX for 15% off your order. That's blacklotusshilajit.com, code MAX, because you deserve the best. Here's a question I really like because I'm confused by it. I love you and Andrés together. When did you realize that he was the one? To be honest, I didn't. Both of my parents have been divorced 3 times each. People change and grow so much all the time that I've always tried my best to just avoid using permanent language. If 2 people want to be around each other, they'll make it work. And it's similar for the converse. But he clearly is the one because we have property together. We have a dog. We're adopting a child. This is it. This is my partner. I just don't know exactly when that moment was. Maybe people are expecting a romantic moment, but ours was probably more negative. It was about a year and a half ago. We were deciding whether or not to stay together because I didn't care about marriage. He finally communicated, because he was learning to get rid of his people-pleasing tendencies, that he did. So we took like a couple of months of making space for ourselves to really sit back and think about it. And it was hard. It wasn't like a romantic night in Italy where we were eating noodles and sucked the noodle into a kiss. It was fights. It was arguments. It was taking time apart from each other and realizing that we did want to be together, as difficult as it can be sometimes. Interesting question. Do you guys kiss a lot? Well, it depends. We're both huge fans of kissing, but, sometimes one of us has a cold sore or a cold or COVID or something, and then we have to get creative about how we show affection. What is the best love advice you've ever been given? So, Andrés and I were at a hospital in Boston this June. Story for another day. There was a super old lady who was going up to the floor above me, so we were in the elevator together. And we were chatting, and she told me that she had just turned 90, and I said, how do you do it? How do you look this amazing at 90? And she cornered me in the elevator. She got way too close. And she says, I'm not going to try the accent. Don't expect it. She said, basically, if someone upsets you, you cry for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you cry how you need to cry, and then you let it go. And she did look really good for 90. But the lesson was to feel your feelings. And it made my day. It was a really hard day, actually. Are Andrés and I ever going to get married? Andrés and I will talk more about it later in our own Ask Me Anything video. But the short answer is yes, at some point. Does my shoe size match my sock size? Next. Have you ever needed help from a therapist? Yes, I probably need more help from a therapist than I actually have access to. But you know what? Good therapists are in short supply, and I'll take what I can get. What is the word count of each of your books, and who do you use to publish them? My first book, Hot Sissy, is roughly 45 to 50,000 words. It counts as a novella. It's on the shorter side for novels. And then the Sparkle Club is about 80,000 words. It's a little bit on the long side for a novel, but far from what you would call an epic. I would say it's an easy summer read. Because of the size of my audience and what I do, I chose to not publish traditionally. I self-published. I do crowdsourcing campaigns to pay for the costs up front, and then I limit the amount of prints that will be available, making them even more individual by numbering them, signing them, and including a Polaroid. That particular model works for me, but if you're an aspiring author and trying to do something similar, there are a few routes you can take. But again, I hate to be that guy that's like, oh, I can't give advice for every single person, but I can't. That's not how this goes. Here's a fun question. I'm not sure if you're a top or a bottom, but I assume you have tried bottoming. So did it hurt, and does it hurt now? And if you still do it? Yes, I have bottomed. To be completely honest, part of how I knew I wasn't actually bi was because I bottomed for the first time and was like, oh, you can't do that with a girl. That's really fun. At some point, I will dedicate a whole episode to bottoming because A, it's funny, and B, it'll probably get a lot more views than anything else that I make for this page. Are Andrés and I monogamous or open? Again, I will be more relationship-centric in an episode with Andrés, but my short answer for this is it depends on who's asking. Whatever happened to Max's underpants? Man, I think Max's underpants was the exact length that it needed to be. Any longer than 7 episodes about how to become a male underpants supermodel, and I'm sorry, I don't think you're cut out to be a male underpants supermodel. You're just milking for content at this point. Why can't people just let shows die? What did you think about when you were offered money for something that makes you uncomfortable, especially if you need the cash? To be completely honest, people don't try exploitive financial offers with me that much these days. Every so often I'll get like a weird request from like a live streaming company that wants me to like be on the platform. But the most disgusting offer I ever got, I directly wrote word for word into a scene in Hooked, my movie. The kid's cash strapped and he can't get his ATM to work, his ATM card to work, and a guy comes up and offers some cash to get him to do a jerk-off video. That actually happened to me once when I was in Miami and I was flat broke and I couldn't get a check cashed. The guy like saw me struggling and like pulled me outside and made that offer. And I almost resorted to violence, but I did not. Fortunately, as a grown adult who can pay my own bills and has a social media platform where I can expose people for being total creeps, it hasn't happened since I was like 22. What is my diet? I'm planning to do a more in-depth AMA on wellness, which will include diet, fitness, kind of my mental health rituals and things like that. But the short answer is I really just keep it simple. Less than 20% of my diet is ultra-processed foods if I can help it. And, common sense. What is the worst thing about living with Andrés? Okay. Pull out. It's like, let's see. No, there's nothing. He's perfect. When am I starting an OnlyFans? I have Kyle Krieger on as a guest to talk about OnlyFans at some point, and in that episode, you will hear about why I have decided not to start an OnlyFans. Andres and I both have Patreon pages if you want to support our work as creatives, but right now we're drawing the line at sex work for several reasons. We'll talk about them in that podcast. You're going to have to go and listen to that one. Was I a flouncy child? Sir. Does being conventionally handsome to the degree that you are mean that you move through the world in a different way? The best visual I can give you for what this question is trying to express is that episode of 30 Rock where Tina Fey is dating John Hamm, the handsome man who lives in a bubble. There's very much like a charmed life aspect to being pretty. I think they call it pretty privilege. But it's kind of the same as any other type of wealth. Like if you have a bunch of money, people are really nice to you. If you're big on the internet, people are really nice to you. But there's also this like backfire effect that happens with any of those privileges in that like people will want a connection with you. And if they don't get it in a positive way, they can be an absolute troll and try to get it in a negative way. So there's definitely some pitfalls there. Hope that answers your question. What job do you see yourself working on 10 years from now? I'm directing multi-million-dollar films. Thank you. Where would you like to be professionally and personally 25 years from now? I would like to be directing multi-million-dollar films. Thank you. What is your skincare routine? Water and sleep. Again, we're doing a wellness AMA in a couple weeks, so stay tuned for that. But I don't know, moisturizer, sunblock, it's all really made to be more complicated than it actually is. What is in my nightstand drawer? I don't actually have a nightstand drawer. I have a wooden table. And then next to my bed, I've got a sleep mask. I've got a Kindle, like a reading device. And then under the bed, we have a basket that Andres likes to call the getting bread basket that is lube and those accoutrements. Are Andres and I still working on becoming dads? Follow-up question. Do you enjoy nude beaches? And if so, how are those follow-up questions? We're doing an entire AMA on adoption soon. We will keep you posted. And when it comes to nude beaches, yeah, who doesn't love a nude beach? Why would you not want to be naked outside? We tend to like to do the more remote ones because we're a little self-conscious. But, I'm sorry, how are those two questions related? Okay, we got shoe size, Andres, shoe size. We've already addressed those, so it looks like we're good for now. Come back for later episodes where I'll be addressing questions about my relationship, our adoption process, and personal wellness. That's diet, fitness, and everything in between. We here at Stuff Pod like to end each episode on a low note, a fight. Our guest today is me, so I will be selecting a topic that is divisive, choosing which side I'd like to take on it, making my argument, and then arguing the opposite. Today I've chosen, should we eat the rich? Yes, we should eat the rich. They're not paying their taxes. They're just a bunch of freeloaders exploiting the rest of us. And to be honest, they look delicious. Their skin is dewy. They're usually in pretty good shape, so it's like a nice marbled fat from all the massages. I mean, come on. How could you not want to eat the rich? Plus, if you murder them, you can eat them at their houses, which probably has like all of like the best knives and grills. And guys, it's a no-brainer. We're eating the rich. Actually, I don't think we should eat the rich. First of all, yeah, they probably do taste delicious. And yeah, they are draining our society. I do think you are right about some things. But have you ever heard what happens when people just eat other people? I've heard we taste like pigs, by the way. Is that true? Let me know if that's true. I've heard the closest thing we taste like is pigs. But my point is you should not eat human meat. It has like a parasite in it that can cause you to go completely insane. There's tribes in, I think, Papua New Guinea and some other places that like ritualistically eat their dead. It might just be their brains, but you basically get the equivalent of mad cow disease, but for people. Don't eat the rich. Do whatever else you want with them, just don't eat them. Well, I guess we're going to have to agree to disagree. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Stuff Every Queer Kid Should Know. This is a Wellness Loud production produced by Drake Peterson and Jake Wachtel. Additional production by Cass Falding and Chantilly Toison. The episode was recorded by Jason Siegel, Mun Singh, edited by Jesse Trout, and mixed by Mike Fry. Music by Tom Goss. If you like this show, don't forget to share it with your friends, subscribe on your preferred channel, or all of them, and give us a 5-star rating. It would be super, super helpful. Thank you so much to all my Patreon subscribers. You are credited in the show notes. Thank you for listening. See you next time.